Valencia. Wonderful city on the Spanish seaside. One of the largest ports in the whole of the Mediterranean and perfect escape spot for those who try to warm themselves up during the Dutch spring. Delicious food, vibrant atmosphere. What else do you need really? So warm in here. I love this. Plus 26 after 10 is exactly what any human being really needs. Luckily, getting there is reasonably easy. I took a plane from Eindhoven, but I know that the flights are available from other major airports in the Netherlands. And then upon arrival and some wandering through the Valencia airport, I was able to get to the city center on the metro quite easily. It's actually much warmer than I expected. So I rushed through picturesque streets of Valencia to my Airbnb so I can dress more comfortably and can start exploring. I was lucky to stay in a place in Montolivet neighborhood. It's both close to historical center as well as other major sites in Valencia. However, the neighborhood itself isn't extremely special. It sort of loses in terms of vibrancy to Ruzafa, but nonetheless is still a nice place to stay. Just after a 10-minute brisk walk, our first stop is Turia Gardens. This is a 12-kilometer long park that is located in the old riverbed of Turia. After the devastating flood of 1957, the municipality made a decision to divert the river, and instead these gardens were open. The park itself goes around the city center and ends at one of the most important sites in Valencia, the City of Arts and Sciences. I'm standing next to one of the most memorable, probably, landmarks of Valencia, which is Palace of the Arts, made by Santiago Calatrava. Santiago Calatrava has been an architect of many impressive works, but his largest project has been the City of Arts and Sciences in his birthplace, Valencia. You can see in his designs that he gains a lot of inspiration from the nature, as buildings resemble some kind of living organisms. Each building has a unique style and purpose. For example, Le Hemispheric is the oldest in the bunch and is now housing an IMAX cinema, a planetarium and a laser show. El Museo de las Ciencias Príncipe Felipe, or the Príncipe Felipe Science Museum, has a wonderful design that's supposed to resemble a skeleton of the whale, and it is an interactive science museum that offers a lot of insights and exhibits on technology, biology, space, and wonderful other things to explore. Then of course there is l'Oceanographic. As you may have guessed from the name, it's the Oceanarium, and it's the largest oceanarium in Europe. And there is also l'Agora, built in 2009. It's a plaza that held sporting events and concerts. For example, it hosts Valencia Open, which is a major tennis tournament. And of course there is Les Arts, or the Palace of Arts of Queen Sofia. It's a magnificent looking opera house and performing arts center. This wonderful complex is also a home for Berkeley University of Valencia. It's been here already for 10 years. I'm really envy the people who study here. Maybe at some point you're getting used to it, it doesn't excite you as much, but it still looks wonderfully nice, especially well lit at night. And that concluded the day one of my Valencian journey. For the next day, I plan to go all the way to Seaside. Valencia, besides having an eye-catching architecture, is first of all one of the major ports in the Mediterranean, so it also means it must have a beach. In order to get there, I used the bike rental. There is a local service called Valenbici, which is maybe not the best in terms of comfort, but works just fine. There are many stations all around the city that will allow you to go from the point A to B relatively easy. It is also a perfect solution for you as a tourist, so you can actually explore the city more. Also a much nicer and healthier way than hopping on a car or a bus. It's officially day 2 of Valencian adventure. I made it to the seaside. The water is extremely cold, so I keep it this way, just at the beach. Amazing times. Such a wonderful contrast. Coming from 12 in the Netherlands, rainy, windy and cloudy, into the sunny, windy and hot. Nice. Recommend to everyone. By the recommendation from the friend of mine, I was advised to go to the beach called Malvarossa. However, initially I went to the one named Cabanyal, which is, in all honesty, not that different for that specific time of the year. But despite the cold water, I still took my chances and dipped into the sea. After that, I went on exploring the area close to the beach. There were some colorful houses that reminded me of Portugal, and when I went to check out the old warehouse buildings, I noticed something I did not expect to see. So another more peculiar part of port is that there used to be an old Formula 1 circuit. And basically it existed for just 5 years, since 2008 until 2013. And then Valencia kind of lost the competition of having to host F1 race to Barcelona. Initially they tried to find an arrangement in which they go into, switch the race biannually in Spain. It didn't really work out, so now the Soul track kind of blended in with just the general city infrastructure, because it used to run through port and through the streets of Valencia. And right now anybody can pretty much come and visit it, and you would barely notice that it used to be here, and nothing but a signage on Google Maps would tell you where it actually was. And now it's time to further explore the center. Right now I'm at the Plaza del Juntament, and this is the Juntament itself. No, it's not the coffee, it's City Hall. And this is the place where Valencia was hosting an annual festival that's called Fallas, and I just missed it. Fallas Festival happens annually in March. In short, it's a citywide parade of wonderful sculptures made from cardboard and papier-mâché, filled with firecrackers and fireworks. At the end of the festival, they all being burned to the ground, leading to a mesmerizing spectacle. Luckily, a friend of mine was kind enough to share his videos from this arsonist heaven, so you can also feel the atmosphere. Old Town felt as if you were stepping into the time machine. Everything is really well preserved, and there are a lot of authentic buildings that really catch an eye. However, by dwelling into El Carmen neighborhood, you would notice some differences. I don't know why, but I really found it extremely an interesting combination of all these graffitis in the older houses. I don't know. It's like, two times are collapsing one into another. Posh with street culture. I don't know, does it say about a decay, or it's just a conjunction of different cultures? But these kind of things that I see all over El Carmen just fascinate me. Just look. Straight from Rick and Morty. And was it time to come back to start new day. It's time to explore a gastronomic side of Valencia, and I want to start with Ruzafa. It's a hip neighborhood with nice cafes, restaurants, vintage shops and bars. But the thing that impressed me the most there is the colourful market building. It's very popular with locals and has everything that Spain has to offer. There is a variety of cheeses, fruit, vegetable, and of course jamón and other famous Spanish meat products. And this place did feel much more authentic than the central market. In Ruzafa and all around Valencia, there is a lot of cafes that are done in, recognizable modern style that is sort of common everywhere. But there are some hidden gems, so to say, maybe not so hidden. For example, La Cantina in Ruzafa is a place which is, as you may have guessed from the name, a canteen. And it has its own, peculiar canteen-like style, and that's probably what allows it to have the best value for money. While the food is, even though quite simple, but I even got to try some specialties like a Valencian coffee, which is pretty much a coffee that you drink with some liquor in it, and it turned out to be quite a popular after-meal drink. There is a lot of wonderful places for brunches. Among the classy and somewhat extra ones, it's nice to mention the Casa Montanya that offers a great variety of tapas. Then, of course, Casa Roberto, that, according to my friend, cooks the best Valencian paella. It includes quite extravagant type of ingredients, a rabbit, liver, nails, but it tastes great. Additionally to this, I've also visited bars, and one of them Café de Loras, which, looks a little bit of extra for a bar. And the other one is Tyrus on Tap, which is a great beer place where you can, try out different yet simple beer that Tyrus is making. And I also enjoyed a wonderful dinner at the Mexican place with a friend of my friend, which also, has been quite an experience in its own. Alright, food aside, there are also other places to visit. Valencia is home to one of the biggest football clubs in Spain, which is Valencia, and their home ground Mestalla is, it's not extremely expressive as most of the stadiums looking on the outside. Then of course, among other activities, you can go to museums. For example, there is a modern art museum that I did not get to visit. The museum that I got to experience is a museum of fine arts, which also has a free admission. There is quite a big exhibition of medieval art, for example, as well as most of the pieces of art that you can find in that museum are from Spanish artists. The building itself also looks marvelous, and I honestly enjoyed spending my time in the museum, walking around different halls, as there is a lot of great art to explore. This museum also holds some temporary exhibitions. This time it was the one from Goya, where we could see some of his earlier sketches. And for those who are craving a little bit more of a nature adventure, Valencia also has to offer something, and it is a trip to Albufera, which is a natural park. It is located not far from Valencia, so even if you, for example, have a proper rental bike, not the ValenBC, you can bike all the way there. However, it's quite easily accessible by bus. Here I am approaching the wonderful natural preserve, Albufera. So yeah, let's explore it together. It's a bit hard to get there, and I think I stepped out a bit too early, but let's see what it has to offer. The problem number one, it's well, I need to find how to enter. Jeez. Well, didn't really concentrate, so now I have to walk between the highway and a natural fence. It's not so fun, but I should be almost there, I hope. A lot of people tend to go there to spot a sunset on the lake, and the peculiar part about Albufera that it is sort of surrounded by the lake or some kind of thing that's like a lake or a pond, and on the other side there is a sea. It creates this interesting effect for people specifically to go and spot sunset that it was probably the reason I got a recommendation to go to Albufera, which I unfortunately ignored because I'm no romantic myself. I'm a lone wolf in this case. Basically, Albufera Park became a natural park, a natural preservation since 1994, from what I understood, and it's a home for 300 different species living out here, and that's about it. But hey, I mean, it's nature after all. What I also learned more about the place, that they supposedly were to build a haven for some wealthy people to park their yachts there. However, that project ended up not being a success, either from not enough funding, or they just in general decided not to move forward with it in the end. So there is this artificial lake with a little island in it on which flamingos are living. However, at the time when I was there, it has been, you can call it even a seagull island, because there has been so many seagulls screaming at the enormous levels, so I avoided getting closer. Once I reached the seaside, I also noticed that there has been a lot of fishermen, even though the waves were kind of high, but I'm not entirely sure if that influences much of a fishing, in all honesty. But yeah, that was interesting, and I even got a little bit lost because my phone was almost dead. And yeah, another snake encounter and some other things, and you know, that's what makes this kind of little adventures adventurous. And that's it for my Valencian adventures. I hope you enjoyed the video and you found some nice advice and tips for your future trip if you haven't been there. If you have, please let me know down in the comments what I may have missed or what other recommendations you may suggest. And as always, thank you very much. Please give a like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time.